Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinsons. If you're new here, welcome. We hope you'll consider subscribing. For everybody else, thank you for coming back and supporting us and watching another episode. Today we're going to talk about dystonia and Parkinson's disease. Now, all the sources I've referenced are in the description below, so you can check them out. And we're going to look at dystonia from a couple different points of view, including mine, because the way I have experienced it and have been dealing with it has really got me thinking, who is in control of my body? And then towards the end of the video, we're going to look at some things that might be helpful for dystonia. So if you're experiencing some dystonia-like symptoms, and they are quite bothersome, you'll want to stick around for that. Okay, we have a lot to look forward to in this episode, so let's get right to it. Now, the first thing you're going to ask me is, Dave, what the heck is dystonia? And I've got to tell you, I'm sorry, it is not a Rolling Stones cover band. The Parkinson's Foundation describes it as, dystonia is a sustained or repetitive muscle twisting, spasm, or cramp that can occur at different times of the day and in different stages of Parkinson's disease. Dystonia is a common early symptom of young onset Parkinson's, like that toe curling cramp you get in your foot, but it can appear at any stage of Parkinson's. Then the American Parkinson's Disease Association adds on that dystonia is a movement disorder in which there are involuntary and repetitive muscle movements that can cause a part of the body to twist or assume a particular position. Involuntary movements? Oh yes, I do not want to do these things. But I will give you a collage of how dystonia has been kind of playing out for me in the last year or so. And the majority of them, like 90% or more, seem to happen on the right side of my body. And first, there is the ever constant, everyday right leg lock, I call it leg lock. But basically, it's like my right calf muscle just locks up and won't function properly. And then the next symptom a number of months ago would be that I would just raise my hand like a question. I've got a question for you guys. And then it would turn into flexing my muscle. And when you're holding this position and you're flexing your muscle for like 10-15 minutes, it really is painful. But I just want to say, look how strong I am. And that seems to have evolved into like a Mighty Mouse flying position where it just wants to dislocate my shoulder blade. Here I come to save the day. And then the newest one is the jaw clamp. And oh wow, that is extremely painful. Psychology Today put out a great article lately entitled Staying in Control. And the headline was, Can believing we are in control of our health make us live longer? Now, the article talks about perceived control, like living under the perception that the things that we do on a daily basis, like let's say eat well, sleep well, exercise well, all those habits as they combine with one another can give us the perception that we're going to have better health or even possible longevity. And then I say, longevity? With Parkinson's disease, do I want to live forever or a very long time? I don't know, that's just a question. The question makes me kind of think about when I was a child and I was growing up and being involved in like school sports, pushing myself as hard as I can, going to like a basketball tournament where you would play 3 or 4 games in a weekend. And I was able to do all of that, and I never felt that I was getting tired. It really did feel like I was in control of my health and my body. But then when I got Parkinson's disease, my perception has kind of changed about that. Now with Parkinson's disease, I wonder if there is a little gremlin inside my mind pushing the buttons and pulling the levers and just torturing me for good old fun. I remember dystonia symptoms starting in my right calf like 5 years ago, and I didn't really know what it was. I just thought it was muscle cramps. And I would go out in the morning and do like run walks, like run and then walk, run then walk. And this calf muscle thing was just getting to me. So I'm like, I can run through this. I've done it before as a kid, right? It'll work again as an adult. So basically it cramped up so badly that I went down, I couldn't walk, I couldn't get up, and then I had to call my in-laws for a pick-me-up. Does it feel like the perceived control over your body you had as a youth is merely an illusion now? Part 2 of the video. Why does everything have to hurt so much? Okay, this next little section is from the Parkinson's Foundation. People with PD often experience a painful dystonia on the side of their body with more Parkinson's symptoms. Yeah, that's definitely me. Put your hand up if you agree. This usually occurs first thing in the morning when dopamine levels are at their lowest as nighttime medications wear off. Yep, definitely me again. This painful cramp usually goes away after the first daily dose of Parkinson's medication. And for the most part, yes, I agree with that. Not a 100% thing. I'd say it's more like 90-95%. Sometimes it hangs around all day. And the dystonia can affect you any time of the day, and it can also affect many different parts of our body. And we're just going to whip through that really quick. I'll just list off the parts of the body that can affect. You ready? Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head and shoulders, knees and toes, eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Woo! And many different parts in between. And if you want to even have more fun, you can do another song. You put your claw in, take your claw out, put your claw in, and you shake it all about. Do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Yeah. And I'm going to say claw instead of hand because when the dystonia is really bad in my right hand, it does feel like I'm taking my claw in and out. Now, Psychology Today goes on to say, as young adults and adolescents, we develop confidence in our ability to remain healthy due to successful choices we make and our various life experiences. Still, a serious health crisis can be enough to remove that sense of perceived control and leave us believing that nothing we do would make a difference. Okay, when you get right down to the bare bone facts, dystonia is probably the main reason I gave up driving. I was driving into work one day near the end where I'm like, okay, I might have to leave soon. And I was feeling a bit tad off that morning, but I had driven to work many times feeling just a little bit off. But suddenly my right arm, just out of nowhere, just went like this. And I'm driving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to pull over right now. And I had to call for help, and it took a long time for my right arm to come down, and it was very painful. And that tipped me over the edge. Shortly after that, I stopped driving. How does the dystonia feel when you can't control it or do anything to help it? How does the Parkinson's feel when a new symptom comes along and everything you do has no effect against that new symptom? Okay, next part of the video. As we age or we care for an aging parent, we lose that sense of the perceived control. Psychology Today goes on to say, losing the sense of control we once depended on can mean greater depression, pessimism, difficulty coping with stress, and neglecting personal health needs. Yes, I definitely agree with that. My grandma always used to tell me that as I would get older, things would begin to hurt quite a bit more. I just didn't know what she was talking about until now. This is where I really begin to question our perceived control over our body and our health, and I begin to understand more from where my grandma was coming from. Okay, ways that we can help manage our dystonia. So I'm going to give you some medication recommendations from the experts, so don't take them as coming from me. I am not a doctor. Okay, the first one they recommend is moving your levodopa-carbidopa around, maybe starting it a little bit earlier before the dystonia normally acts up. That may be helpful. Some people have had success with Botox injections. There is the option of physical therapy or massage that may be helpful. You could try other medications that target the dystonia directly, like muscle relaxants. And then there is the use of a device or a sensory trick, which I found really does work for me. Like the other day, I had the bad jaw clamp in the morning, and then I tried to take a drink of water, and that seemed to interrupt the dystonia quite well for me. And then, of course, they give you the option of having a deep brain stimulation, if your neurologist and you figured that is the best for you. Personally, I have found that red light therapy works really well for me for dystonia. So you can always check out our sponsor, Rouge Care Canada, and see what they have to offer. There's a link in the description below for that. And if you shop through that link, you will be able to support Life with Parkinson's indirectly, and we really appreciate that. So when I really think about this question of perceived control, I kind of end up thinking that, I couldn't stop myself getting Parkinson's disease. I couldn't stop my daughter from getting type 1 diabetes. And I couldn't help or prevent Haley's endometriosis. The dystonia I'm dealing with, I can do very little to prevent it. I can only deal with it as it's occurring, I have found. And for some reason, that has to be good enough for me. In my opinion, I believe that our perceived sense of control over our health and our bodies is merely an illusion that we have created to trick ourselves into believing we have a better life than we do. But I understand sometimes it is preferable to believe a lie than to face and accept the truth. And I understand that. So, thank you for continuing to take this journey together. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel. Leave me a question or a comment below about this episode. I have really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun writing it and thinking about you guys. I will see you on the next one. Have a good day. Goodbye.